Hello. Well, it's always good to be back, man, on this show that we call TALKSHOP. This show mainly where we tell it like it is and let the chips fall where they may. And as we say all the time, man, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. No matter what you do, the truth is like a cork. And when you crash it to earth, we had day, it will come again. And the question, and I know you've been waiting for me to ask this question all the time, man. We ask this question, what time is it? And your response all the time, it's nation time. It's nation time. We are going to build this nation no matter what. And I thank you, oh man, I'm so happy with all the comments that you send. And I'm very, very impressed. And trust me, we will not relent. This nation time will not remain a slogan. We shall build this nation, you and us. And I know that there are many of you in the diaspora who are willing to come back. But honestly, some of you say, and it is true, come back to what? Let us prepare the ground. And trust me, get all of us back together and we will build this nation like there's no tomorrow. In the meantime, folks, let me apologize. Those of you are regular followers who are always tuning in and following us will realize that there's been a bit of a slowdown. You know, as I said the last time, I'm preparing for a major show, and I've been off the radar. I've been chilling for quite some time, you know. So this is for me a very important performance and a great comeback. We call it old age is a BITC and whatever. Take a look at this.
Live at the Kempinski Hotel on Easter Saturday, 19th of April, the icon of comedy has resurrected. He is back in a vintage KSM masterpiece. Old age is a BITC. Limited tickets available from April 1st. A night of music and fashion. Eat good food and digest with laughter. Talal, Lexi, Chemical, and Vienna will pass through this Easter Saturday, 19th of April, 7 p.m. prompt. Eat, dance, and laugh with KSM Masterpiece. Old age is a BITC. KSM is crazy.
Fantastic, folks, and we are back. Today, what are we talking about, folks? You know, of late, let me start with this first. It is not important, but it has been in the news for a while. As you guys call it, trending. You know, this reverend in team or something who made a whole press conference about planes and cocaine and a whole lot of things he alleged. It's funny, he's been making several appearances on TV stations, on programs, and I don't know why, but you know, somebody makes allegations, they come back into the evidence, they seem clueless, and that's when you get a platform, man. If you want a platform in Ghana, just make the allegation. You don't need the evidence. And people will still be interested in no matter what, no matter how ridiculous the aggravation is. He's been on many platforms. And the funny thing is that people are asking this question, say, this man didn't come with any evidence, he just made an allegation, and all of a sudden, all platforms are open to him. And I think Umar Sanda asked him this question, very interesting. Check this out.
For your own integrity, for your own, personality, considering the kind of calling you have, a man of God, you are being called a liar. It is not a nice thing. You are being called an attention seeker.
Yeah.
Why don't you produce the evidence so that attack against your person does not go?
So Umaru, they say all this because You can understand the extreme
because you have not brought evidence.
Because you can understand the extreme frustration and discomfort in covering these crimes.
Or because you are leading us on a wild goose chase.
No. In these,
and there are even people who are questioning why we give you platforms.
Please, in these crimes.
Yeah.
Because if I don't seek platforms. I don't go around calling radio stations that I want to come on your show.
Yeah, but there are people saying that we shouldn't even allow you to even comment any further until you bring any evidence.
I don't go.
and you know, Umar was asking a question that I was asking. I'm sure you watched the last episode that we did, and I said, hey, Masa, if you have anything to say, and you have the evidence, you bring it to me. I will talk about it. I will show the evidence. But if you have a suspicion or an allegation, Master, the intelligent thing to do is like, Charlie, this thing is happening. I really don't understand it. I'll write to National Security or somebody, some of these agencies that are in charge. I'll write to them and say, have you seen this? I suspect this. Investigate it. Something like that. But I don't get up and hold a press conference and make needless statements.
On the matter of air med flights and Carvoc Air private jets transporting suspected cocaine and cash. Ladies and gentlemen, on another security matter related to our airspace, the Minority Caucus calls on national security to, as a matter of urgency, make public the content of cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash transported into the country by 2 suspicious flights.
And say later that I just have a suspicion. This is all very ridiculous.
This question.
So,
are you acting based on suspicion, or you have anything concrete to prove this?
We have strong basis for what we've put out. The questions we have put out. We have strong basis for the questions we have put out. And these are not...
So you have evidence that there was cash and drugs brought into this country?
We have strong basis for the questions we have put out.
You have evidence.
Anytime the NDC wants to spin propaganda around evidence, it will get to a stage. There will be further things that will be released, and before
but you're not releasing it now, you're releasing later.
I'm not going to give it to you today.
But you're releasing later.
I'm not going to give it to you today.
But you release it later?
But...
When will you release the information?
Oh, that is...
Reverend Tim, I'm sorry. This is part of it. This is part of this whole Jandam agenda. And it is sickening. But having said that, let me say this. Nothing can ever witness what we call a vacuum. There's nothing like a vacuum. Say, there's nothing. No. There is always something that will fill a vacuum. So if there's nothing happening, it doesn't mean nothing is happening, but certain things will fill the vacuum. And I'm saying this because honestly, NDC, if you develop an ongoing agenda, that is so important that it brings a discussion of national issues. If you develop something like that to fill the vacuum, and Ghana is all gone agog with the issues you are talking about, the policies you are trying to implement, things that need to be done. Trust me, NDC, if you fill the vacuum with things like this, there will be no room for agenda. I guess all I'm saying is that people have time to make press conferences and allegations and all this crap, because in the absence of nothing, anything is okay. In the absence of nothing, anything is okay. So long as there's nothing, please expect certain things to come and fill the vacuum. And that's why this man had a press conference. There's nothing to talk about, folks. There's a vacuum. Well, I remember that the EA levy was abolished, so and so was abolished, these taxes were abolished, and there was like a whole discussion and talk on what has been abolished and what has been not. And the president came and said, promise accomplished or delivered or something like that.
Promises delivered.
That's it. Nobody's even talking about that anymore. There are some issues that we should be thinking about. Yes, you have abolished the e-levy. Yes, you have abolished certain taxes and all those things. The fact is that those things were bringing in certain revenues to the state. They were poor and poor. That's a fact. It was bringing in certain revenues. Now all of these things have been abolished. Can there be a discussion on what is going to take place now in terms of what will be used to attract similar revenues to the nation? Is there a talk on what has been sealed in terms of the gaps, what we have sealed, that even though these things have been abolished, because we are sealed these loopholes, we are still covered, and things will be fine? This is the level of discussion that I thought would come after all the talk about all the things that have been abolished. But no, because there's nothing there. Somebody says, I've seen a plane and it has cocaine and crap like that. It was quite interesting. Somebody, what did he refer to Reverend Tim as a low budget Ablakwa?
People are calling you low budget Ablakwa. How do you feel about that? They're saying that you're just trying to do what he used to do, which you are doing in a lousy manner, they say.
Omaru.
That's funny. When Ablakwa makes allegations, says I have evidence, I've intercepted, I have evidence. You don't intercept something, it says just a suspicion. I'm just talking about the funny thing about the low budget Ablakwa. But the main thing here, folks, is this. There's nothing. There's nothing filling in the gap. So I expect these things to come up. Listen, Ghana is in serious trouble. And we know this. We don't talk about it. It's okay. We have our fun. It's okay. But the fact is that there are certain serious gaps that we are in as a nation. And I said it the last time, the NDC won the election because of the energy Ghanaians have looking for somebody to come and make those radical changes. And I'm saying this, and I'll say it again and again and again. People are not feeling the momentum. You ain't feel and when you listen to His Excellency, you can tell he has some momentum, you can tell he has some direction. But the backing of the ministers, the body of the ministers, the energy that I was expecting from them, I'm sorry, I don't feel it. That's why the other time I talked I talked about, look, this vetting crap, the way we vet people and all that crap is crap. And then some intelligent person told me, about KSM, what do you mean? Have you seen how they vet in the US? They ask these questions. I say, I don't give a hell how they vet in the US. We are not in the US. And the fact that the US does it a certain way does not mean that we in Ghana should do the same way because I'm in the US. No. How about Ghana starting a new trend? And this is what I say. When it's time for vetting, the best way to vet ministers, you have invited so and so and so to be minister of this segment, and you're going to vet them. The whole vetting, I say, should consist of a PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint makes you think, because you have to arrange the arguments logically. So when they call whatever minister, he mounts his PowerPoint and he starts. First of all, give us the overview of whatever sector you're going to be minister of. Give us the overview. What is in this sector? What are there any historical things we need to know? What are the gaps? What do you as minister intend to do to improve whatever it is you are inheriting? But in order to convince that you're going to bring something new to what you're inheriting, you have to first let us know that you really understand the ministry you're going into. By the breakdown you present, by the loopholes in the ministry, and finally, how you intend to fix it. And the last part of the PowerPoint will be, give us some timelines. By this timeline, this is what I hope we should achieve. By this is what I hope we can achieve. This will challenge anybody who has been elected and has been given the position to act as a minister of any sector to think and present something to the people of Ghana in PowerPoint, essentially. These are my plans. There are people who have no clue what the ministry is. There are ministers who have no understanding of how to improve. But why should they be worried? Because when I come for a meeting, you're going to ask me, does my wife cook jollof for dinner? You're going to ask me bull crap. If I go to church, the church I go to, do they pray in tongues? And so, if this is what you're going to ask me, what has that got to do with the onerous task of running a ministry? Well, time I say, ministers should be allowed to do PowerPoint presentations. And then maybe out of their PowerPoint, you can ask them some critical questions. But the PowerPoint forces you to think and to analyze. We don't do that. You know, we have these vetting, and I popular Ghana, the whole nation will stop and watch that thing on TV. It becomes a favorite pastime. People come and talk about anything but how they're going to rescue the ministry and how they're going to add to nation building. So, folks, I'm saying in the absence of that, whilst we don't put our ministers through the grill, they come and they become ministers and they can all be quiet. I haven't heard anything dynamic. Maybe there have been some dynamic things. Maybe. I am saying I haven't heard anything dynamic from any of these new ministers. Actually, this is something, a ground shaking idea. You say, oh, wow. I haven't heard anything like that. But this is what the country needs. Ground shaking ideas. Things that we have not actually ever thought of. This is what I want to see of the ministers. You know, there was one time that I did a whole presentation on the young ones who have now come in, and I advised them that we're going to be watching, and a whole bunch of advice. Those of you who missed that, check the same YouTube, you find the advice I give them. And I'm still watching them. I'll give them, in the next few months, I'll come back again and see how far, Charlie. All this talk I'm saying is this. Because I get the sense that the president has some energy and there's something that he wants to do, I would want to get that sense equally that the ministers he has selected, the people he has put in places, have the same energy or even more energy and dynamism to help change the course of this country. Otherwise, folks, I'm telling you, the energy we have, the vim that we want to change things and to get Ghana on the correct path, that vim is high. And I keep warning. I said, if we lose that vim, and Nigerian forces saying, if we lose that vim, we have thrown away a lot. So, folks, that's all I'm talking about too. Oh, because there's no dynamism like this, that's why Reverend Tim can hold a press conference, and that can be a national discussion for I don't know how many months or weeks, sorry. Reverend Tim can hold a press conference and that becomes a national discussion. Such crap, such emptiness. Why? Because we are not feeling the vim, we are not feeling the energy, we are not feeling a certain direction that we are going to. So that is the problem. There's this song, I think it's called Kwepupo Ache. You probably don't know the song. Oh, I've forgotten the guy's name. The song is called Kwepupo. And somewhere in the song was say, yeah, slow motion, I don't know. This is what I think I hear, you know. Yeah, slow motion. And then, you know, Pacho, and this is slow motion, adorso. Slow motion. So I'm telling you, folks, if you continue with this slow motion, then sit down and expect all the gendarmes to fill in with all the crap. Because let me tell you, vacuum behind the baby. Somebody the thing about water, you say water will find its own level. We are dying. When you release water, it will find its own level. That's why there's so much flooding sometimes in certain places. Why? Because we are built in the ways of the water. But when the water gets there, the water won't say, oh, Charlie, you're blocking me quite no, so let me go back. Then the water goes back. No. When the water gets there, one block on the corner, then it will blow you out of the way. That is what causes all the flooding, not everywhere, but in many areas. So when we have filled the places where water should be passing through with our buildings, the water will come and clear off. When the example, okay, this is just an example. That where there is nothing, anything will happen, including disaster. So this vacuum is too much. Look, remember one time I came and I said this, that the problems we have in Ghana are massive, but it is not, it is not impossible to resolve. Look, all the problems we're having and the fact that we haven't resolved them, you reverse it. It goes back to the fact that we have not put people who can actually resolve these problems in charge. We don't. Tell me the minister veterinary example. When they can come and everything and then boom, next time you are made a minister. I remember when they were vetting some ministers, I don't want to mention names, so they let me leave it there. They ask them some silly questions, then they give some silly answers, and they pass anyway. So I am saying this, folks. If we are not feeling any dynamism, it's because we didn't set out to make sure that we are vetting ministers who are coming with dynamism. We didn't set out to do that. We set out to go through the formalities, say, we are better now. It means day-to-day answer, and they are free to go. My whole point today is this, folks. Remember, I keep talking about certain things that we need to do for ourselves as a country to move it forward. Otherwise, we shall encounter the same old problems all the time. Inflation, exchange rate, inflation, exchange rate. And we'll keep talking about this and talking about this and talking about this. And that's all we'll do, talking about them. But not sitting down to actually do things that can actually reverse the mess we are in. We're not doing that all. Sometimes it baffles me. Look, Kantanka, they are making their own cars, blah, 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 blah. I haven't studied Kantanka yet, and I don't know their production capacity, but if anything at all, we have Kantanka, which is an indigenous Ghanaian company making cars. A serious country will say, Kantanka, from now on, all the cars for the Ministry of Agric, all their cars, you make them. Or Ministry of Education, something. So the government will commission Kantanka to be making Kantanka cars. And the government will be making sure that they are paid. And that's how we grow businesses. That's how we grow businesses. And then gradually, if the government is actually supporting not just Kantanka, but any of our local setups, by backing it, it will become bigger and bigger and bigger. But if not, what do we expect? What do we expect? The last time I did a program and I said, listen, of all the places that are ready or that we can get ready for a 24-hour economy, number one, the Commander Sugar Factory. I don't know the story whether they say at Toy, I don't know whatever the thing. But let me tell you this. The hundreds of millions of dollars that we used to import sugar into Ghana all the time. Let's take the Commander Sugar Factory just as one example. That we actually find farmers who are going to grow the sugar cane, and that is a whole lot of employment. We have to find the land, we have to find the farmers, we have to find the specialists who are going to actually be on the ground to make sure that they supervise and all these sugarcane plantations are growing And we take the sugar cane and we feed Commander Sugar Factory. And Commander Sugar Factory starts making the sugar and then lots and lots of sugar. And then the government will actually have a policy that will say that all the breweries in Ghana buy your sugar from Commander Sugar Factory. If it's the universities, if it's the hotels, if there's whatever, anyone doing business in Ghana who needs sugar, please buy from the Commander Sugar Factory. And make sure you are filling the demand. I'm telling you, immediately, Commander Sugar Factory has to turn into a 24-hour company. Immediately. Because the amount of sugar they'll produce, even for the breweries alone, will blow your mind. Go and talk to the breweries, beer, the Coca-Cola, the whatever. Ask them how much dollars they need to import sugar into this country. And then come and tell me if we are able to set up Commander Sugar Factory and make it produce so that it can meet our own demands. And all the $900 million or whatever we spent on sugar, no, let's cut that at least by half or more. And see the effect it will have on the currency. Just the sugar. I haven't added tomatoes. I haven't added rice. Just the sugar. But you see, the thing is this, we don't have people who are really worried and concerned. The problems we face are no problems so major that we cannot overcome them. As thinking Ghanaians, so the problem is we don't want to sit down and think. And those who want to sit down and think do not have the power to enforce that. And those who can enforce it don't have the ability to sit down and think like that. But let me tell you something. Look at this young guy, Traore, Burkina Faso. What, is he in his 30s or something? But look at his agenda. Look at his dynamism. I think he invested about maybe around $12 million to go into tomato farming, and production. And do you know the rippling effects that will have on the country's economy? We are sitting here, we want to dig a freaking hole for a cathedral because some of you say that's where our salvation will come from. Let's sit down and think and challenge ourselves. If we can commit to rehabilitating the sugar factory and building it so that we make sure we have done it well, not the haphazard way we've been doing things. So now you give some money to somebody and they chop it and they go free, and you do this and they chop it. No! Have some serious revision. Imagine having a sugarcane plantation. How many acres do we need? How many people will be employed in this plantation? Feed the Commander Sugar Factory. And let the Commander Sugar Factory turn our sugar that has a ready market. Because already we have told all the breweries to buy from it. We have told all the hotels to buy from it. Make a law. You know, we let the white people cheat out. We have something called the trade world, whatever. You are not supposed to put terrorism, this, to that. Massa, you make it so exorbitant to buy and import the sugar. So you don't have a choice. Call Commander. If you want to import sugar, that's fine. But this are the tariffs you pay to the government if you want to import your sugar, and then import. But this is what you pay for the government, to the government, or buy from Ghana at a much lower rate. These are things that we need to do to build our country, folks. And let's not get concerned too much about some of the issues World Trade say at your peril and disadvantage. I'm telling you, any government that comes into power, I'm hoping the NDC, you are in power, you do it. I'm hoping you back up from the slow motion and start thinking radically. Any that government that comes into power and can resuscitate the Commander Sugar Factory, the way I'm talking about it, and the Kumasi Shoe Factory. These are immediate sources of of employment that can run 24 hours around the clock. When we put in the specific things that will back it. His Excellency Mahama, you visited the factory. I think the last time you were president, I think you visited the Kumasi shoe factory. So you have seen it. Massa, that factory is still there. This factory, they say that if we put them to the task, they can even manufacture boots for the Ghana Army. Why don't we challenge them? Why don't we give them the support that they need? And Tienka said, all the millions of dollars we use to import boots and belts for our police, for our soldiers, for our military people, all of the money we put together to import their footwear and everything, let's give it to the Ashanti Kumasi shoe factory and other shoe factories. And they are working on condition that they are the ones that are going to be producing for the Ghana Army. We are going to stop importing boots and belts for the Ghana Army. This is your task, and a small task. It means the company, the shoe factory must be up, must be energetic. We must have fantastic professional supervision, and we must be able to deliver quality, world-class standards of shoes, boots, belts. We can do it, but because of we are thinking so colonial, we still think that up to date we have to import. But I don't blame it, because somebody is also sitting pretty. Say procurement in here importing, one port two belts in one way. So we are sitting pretty. Charlie, that's why I say I'm a radical in terms of I believe that we can be moving in slow motion and build this country, man. In slow motion, we have to switch to overdrive. I think Traore is in overdrive. Now your own boy. Well, I switch it to overdrive. You let's sit down here and watch him. Already, as we sit now, where do we get our tomatoes and onions and things from? Is it coming from various neighbors in Africa? Yeah. What are we doing? So, I beg you, let's switch here from the slow motion. Let's double up. And the fact is, President Mahama, yes, I have to give you elbow room because what? The rot you have inherited will take more than 3 months to clear. And we all understand, but then again, I also understand, say, agrobe so ifranopa. You see, a drum market from Anopa. So I'm saying, yeah, it's been just 3 or 4 months. And so what? Let us see and experience the dynamism for the years ahead, because they are catching a dose. And I beg you, do a quick, radical round 10 and come back and say, Charlie, there's a new sheriff in town and things are going to change. Things must change, folks. Because guess what? If we follow the simple things with common sense, but with energy, dedication, professionalism, and the vim that it takes, we will turn Ghana around. If I say just like this, I mean say 2 seconds. No, we'll turn Ghana around in a matter of months. Or within the next few years, we can turn Ghana around. But it starts from the vim with which we drive the nation today. And please, whatever it is, it shouldn't be slow motion. But Kwapupo is my favorite song anyway. But the example keke. Famifo, Kwapupo. Go and get that song, man. I have to find the guy who played it. I should have mentioned his name, but I love that song. It's my favorite song. But all jokes aside, we intend to build this nation by any means necessary. And we intend to give Mahama and then all the support required to put vim and dynamism and move away from the slow motion. And let me say, the engineers of slow motion, the attorney general, the Attorney General, the loot, recover all loot people, all when I say more slow motion, we don't feel you. Let that presence be felt. Let that dynamism be on the ground so that we talk about important things that will move this nation forward and not about alleged planes that have been intercepted that have cocaine. Patch on my bread. Come to my show, definitely, on Easter Saturday.
Live at the Kempinski Hotel on Easter Saturday, 19th of April, the icon of comedy has resurrected. He is back in a vintage KSM masterpiece. Old age is a BITC. Limited tickets available from April 1st. A night of music and fashion. Eat good food and digest with laughter. Talal, Lexi, Chemical, and Vienna will pass through this Easter Saturday, 19th of April, 7 p.m. prompt. Eat, dance, and laugh with KSM Masterpiece. Old age is a BITC. KSM is crazy.
But until then, folks, this country, we can't quit. We don't have any other option but to make sure that this country rises again. And trust me, how do I end my show every day? Ghana shall rise again.